And the buzz over a leadership change in Karnataka is now intensifying. DK Shivakumar MLAs who back him are now on their way to Delhi in batches to tell the High Command, come good on your word, change the Chief Minister now. But Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has dismissed all of this, saying very clearly he's still strong. He will remain strong. He says, I am strong. There's no question of me going anywhere. He says all of this is just unnecessary debate. Siddaramaiah, remember, just a few days ago was in the national capital talking about a cabinet reshuffle. So he's pushing for a cabinet rejig, and on the other hand, DK Shivakumar's camp is piling pressure, flexing power in front of the High Command, saying go ahead and come good on your promise of changing the Chief Minister in 2.5 years. Listen first to what Siddaramaiah has had to say about this power tussle.
ಇದು ಅನಾವಶ್ಯಕವಾದಂಥ ಚರ್ಚೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅನಾವಶ್ಯಕ ಚರ್ಚೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. 2.5 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳು ಹುಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದವು. 2.5 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ರೀಸಫಲ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳು ಹುಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ.
ಈಗ ರೀಶಫಲ್ಗೆ ಡೇಟ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಸರ್? ರೀಶಫಲ್ಗೆ ಡೇಟ್ ಸಂಪುಟ ಪುನರಾಚರಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ ಸರ್?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಖರ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊಂದಲ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ, ರೀಶಫಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಗೊಂದಲ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ?
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊಂದಲ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊಂದಲ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್
ದೆಹಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ರಿ, ಇನ್ನು ಡೇಟ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಸರ್ ಖಾಲಿ ಇರೋ ಸರ್ ತುಂಬಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಸರ್? 4 ಖಾಲಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್? ಅದು ಸಚಿವ ಸಂಪುಟ 4 ಖಾಲಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್? 2 ಅದು ಫಿಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ?
ಒಟ್ಟು 34 ಇರಬೇಕು. ನಾಗೇಂದ್ರ ಒಬ್ಬ, ರಾಜಣ್ಣ ಒಬ್ಬ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬಾಕಿಯವರೆಲ್ಲ.
As expected, Siddaramaiah dismissing all of these claims of a chief minister change. But I'd like to open this up because with all of this buzz, we want to get to every single angle there is to talk about in this story and tell you whether we're going to see a change in chief minister in Karnataka or not. Sagar Raj and Nagarjun Dwarkanath joining me live from Bengaluru with the latest updates of what's really happening in the Siddaramaiah camp and the DK Shivakumar camp. Maushmi Singh is joining us from Delhi because the political action now is shifting to the national capital. There are camps, hordes of MLAs from DK camp now heading to Delhi to meet with the High Command. But I want to first bring in Rajdeep Sardesai, who's joining us from the newsroom. Rajdeep, what do you make of all that's happening? Pressure tactics clearly by DK Shivakumar's camp. But I want to go back to what happened a couple of years ago, 2023, when there was all of this talk of, who will be the chief minister. Was there really a communication given from the High Command, Rajdeep, that there will be a change in chief minister in 2.5 years?
Just to give you some context, we heard when the Chhattisgarh government was elected in 2018 of the Congress party, that a deal had been worked where Bhupesh Baghel would be chief minister for 2.5 years and T.S. Singhdev for 2.5 years. What happened? Bhupesh Baghel remained chief minister for all 5 years. We had heard of a similar deal in Rajasthan again in 2018. 2.5 years Ashok Gehlot, 2.5 years Sachin Pilot. What happened? Ashok Gehlot stayed on for 5 years. And it seems for now that in a way history is repeating itself, because from what we gather, Mr. Siddaramaiah has dug his heels in. A majority of the MLAs still support Mr. Siddaramaiah. He remains or is projected as the mass leader and OBC face, importantly, of the Congress in a party which has been projecting itself as an OBC-friendly party. So removing Mr. Siddaramaiah at this stage, just when the party has suffered another debacle in Bihar, will be very difficult. What we are therefore being told is that while the DK Shivakumar camp intends to put pressure on the High Command to take a decision sooner rather than later, they are likely to be told to press the pause button and wait for another 3 months. A cabinet reshuffle is likely within the next fortnight, and that could then, post the budget in February, the issue of chief ministership could be re-looked at. Effectively, Akshita, the Congress, from what one gathers, is trying to buy time. When you can't take a decision, not taking a decision becomes your decision. And that's exactly what's happening with the Congress party, not just in Karnataka, but in various states. Mr. Siddaramaiah knows that. He has certain leverage over the High Command. As I said, majority of the MLAs are with him. He's an OBC. And therefore, I do believe that even though these MLAs of DK Shivakumar have flown from Delhi, I do not expect anything dramatic to happen within the next fortnight. At best, a cabinet reshuffle where some of the Shivakumar loyalists could be accommodated.
But you could also argue, Rajdeep, you say Siddaramaiah has leverage, so does DK Shivakumar. So is he going to be a patient man and just watch from the sidelines? He's been patient for 2.5 years, he'd argue.
Well, yes, but I'm not sure what leverage he has as when he doesn't have a majority of the MLAs. What DK Shivakumar does possess is the fact that he has a certain organizational skill. He's been the Congress president who brought the party victory in Karnataka, and he is hopeful that if he can push the high command hard enough, he can bargain hard enough. At least for now, his loyalists will be accommodated. Whether he can actually effect a change at the top and become chief minister is uncertain. What sources also tell us that even if Mr. Siddaramaiah agrees at some stage to give up the chief ministership, he would prefer to have one of his loyalists accommodated. Shiv Kumar at the moment has limited options. What he is hoping for is that Sonia Gandhi, who he claims committed to him that after 2.5 years you will be made chief minister, Sonia Gandhi will abide by her word. But there are loyalists of Rahul Gandhi who remain also firmly of the view that only Siddaramaiah can deliver Karnataka for them. So I think, as I said, because of these conflicting pulls and pressures, the Congress will resort to a tried and tested tactic, buy some time, and hope that by then they can come up with some kind of a workable solution.
It's not a good look, though, Rajdeep, for the Congress High Command, that they've not been able to resolve this issue, that this kind of infighting, this factionalism within the Karnataka Congress. And many would say, in the back of what's happened in Bihar, maybe the High Command should step in sooner and put out any fires.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But one of the interesting aspects of that is one of the elements of that so-called high command is Mallikarjun Kharge.
Yeah.
Now, there are those who believe that Mallikarjun Kharge's real hope is he will become Karnataka chief minister one day. That's been his long-standing dream. Now, remember, he comes from a Dalit community, so that can send the right message. So the leaders who go to Mallikarjun Kharge know that the person they are meeting also wants to become chief minister of Karnataka. So it's a very complicated situation. And in a party like the Congress, when things get complicated, they're usually buried under the ground. Therefore, I think you will have a lot of noise and fury, which doesn't do the Congress any credit. But to expect a leadership change at the moment seems highly unlikely.
Okay, thanks very much, Rajdeep. I appreciate your time and for joining us here on Super 6 with your insights of what's really playing out in Karnataka. Before I bring in Naga, Sagaya and Moshmi, I'll just cut across to more breaking news that's coming in. This is on DK Shivakumar's camp. His MLAs who backed him are flying in batches to Delhi. 10 MLAs have already left for the national capital. They're going to be seeking a meeting with the High Command to put forth just one demand: honor the power sharing deal. They maintain that there was a verbal communication that in 2.5 years there'll be a change in chief minister. And so they're saying that now that it's 2.5 years, which is exactly to the date today, by the way, they're saying it's time now to go ahead and honor that promise. And this is clearly a power flex by DK Shivakumar as well, because these MLAs would not be traveling without his nod. This is, in fact, all that's playing out. I'll bring in Nagarjun Dwarkanath first on what's happening right now. Nagarjun, this definitely has the blessings of DK Shivakumar. He's been saying, I will abide by what the High Command will say. I will go ahead and do whatever the Congress wants me to do. But at the same time, he will want his slice of the power pie.
That's absolutely true. Without DK Shivakumar's blessings, these MLAs would not fly to meet the party high command. And who are they meeting? They're meeting Mallikarjun Kharge and KC Venugopal, and both of them have not given time. And yet they are traveling to Delhi, which also shows this is optics. The travel of Bangalore to Delhi is pure optics, posturing that we also have MLAs together and we can camp and put our foot down and seek time with the high command. This is just pure optics. And DK Shivakumar knows that the change of power will not happen within a fortnight, within 10 days. And it's a struggle for 2 to 3 months. And if he doesn't start now, he will not be CM maybe in January and February. And that's the reason the camp has started pushing on the day of the time when Siddaramaiah finishes 2.5 years of tenure. And they've not wasted a day, and they are so they've immediately left to Delhi 10 today. And most likely more number of people, more number of MLAs will fly to Delhi over the weekend. Is what about how DK
Okay.
Shivakumar doesn't have the leverage.
Nagarjun, we're
And
having a bit of
after
a
we are
problem with your connection. We're going to fix that and come back to you. I'll bring in Sagaraj in the meanwhile. Sagai, we played out a reaction from Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. You know, he has the bulk of support. Most MLAs are on Siddaramaiah's side, and that's his biggest advantage. Having said that, with MLAs now flying to Delhi, is Siddaramaiah nervous? What is his camp's response going to be?
Now, so far, they have not reacted. However, Chief Siddaramaiah maintains that he is going to continue unless he submits his 17th budget in the month of March. And even if you notice that in Delhi, he has went on to say that he has not spoken about power sharing. He was just talking about cabinet reshuffle. Along with him, it was KJ George who had accompanied him. And even if you notice the system, how it works in Congress party, one person, one job. So that is the reason DK Shivakumar is trying to negotiate with High Command, stating that he is willing to give KPCC President post and would like to take a high-profile position within the government. So that is the Chief Minister's post. We also spoke to the MLAs. They also went on to say that there is a deal between High Command and DK Shivakumar, and that is the reason they are flying to Delhi, and they are going to demand from the High Command that whatever the word you have given, you have to keep up with that and ensure that there is a smooth transition of power from Siddaramaiah to DK Shivakumar. And it was on expected lines, and we expected that DK Shivakumar will play his cards, and now it's all started.
The question is also, with these MLAs all coming in massive numbers, you know, 10 of them plus many more over the weekend heading to Delhi, Maushmi, is there going to be a meeting with the Congress High Command? Will the Congress High Command actually give them time?
Akshita, I recall that when the tussle between T.S. Singh Deo and Bhupesh Baghel was going on, you know, to counter T.S. Singh Deo's claim, almost 60 to 70 MLAs were ferried from Raipur to Delhi. And they sat in buses, and there was a lot of parading that happened. And, you know, that decision to, in fact, change the chief minister, if it was going to happen, was stalled completely. So, you know, there could be a counter move by Siddaramaiah as well. One can't actually count that out, the dramatics and the theatrics as far as, you know, power tussle is concerned. But yes, the party high command cannot, you know, can ill afford another public spectacle. You have a swearing-in ceremony of grandeur in Bihar, and the NDA is a formidable lot. So the optics really don't go out well for the Congress if there is a power tussle and DK Shivakumar would be sending in MLA. So I think it's more of a bargaining tactic by DK Shivakumar for a more elbow room in the cabinet reshuffle rather than, you know, really claiming that CM's post.
Do you think that's what it is, Nagarjun, that, you know, in a countdown to the cabinet reshuffle, this is DK Shivakumar saying that, look, if you're not going to make me the chief minister, ensure that I at least have more power?
Well, absolutely wrong. You know, cabinet reshuffle is a smoke screen for both of them. Both of them don't want to have cabinet reshuffle. Cabinet reshuffle is a catalyst or weapon to use for Siddaramaiah to ensure that if the reshuffle happens, he remains to be the chief minister. And DK Shivakumar has to ensure that the reshuffle doesn't happen so that the change of guard happens. Remember, once the change of guard happens, the whole cabinet dissolves, and you also have to have new 32 MLAs taking oath with the new CM. If chief minister is planning to have 10 members to be dropped in the present cabinet, in next 3 to 4 months, you can't have a new CM because in turn, you have new 32 ministers. That will not look good in terms of administration. This whole cabinet reshuffle is a smoke screen from the CM camp to ensure his chair remains safe as well. I was just talking about how Rajdeep spoke about T.S. Singh Deo and in Sachin Pilot case, but we are talking about DK Shivakumar, right? In Karnataka, he's been a minister since '89. He's been a strong, loyal Congress party member. He had close association with Ahmed Patel, with Sonia Gandhi, with Rahul Gandhi. In each level of his growth, the party has seen how DK Shivakumar has ensured that they stood by the party. And that is what he's speaking to the High Command, that I have stood by you, now it's your turn to stand by me. And what we are picking up from the sources is that now we have got official confirmation through the party sources and especially DK camp that this was a verbal communication that was given just before the 2023 oath-taking ceremony. 3 people from the High Command, DK Shivakumar, Siddaramaiah, were a part of this conversation in a room in Delhi, and they shook hands over that after 2.5 years, Siddaramaiah will vacate the chair for DK Shivakumar. So DK Shivakumar is now telling the High Command, you people were also witness to this scenario in Delhi. I'm asking what was promised for, and hence the MLAs are flying. DK Shivakumar also, remember, is playing his cards right. He's not speaking in public.
Yeah.
He's not speaking anything in public. He's saying CM Siddaramaiah is my chief minister. But in back end, of course, the work is going on. Without his blessings, the MLAs would not have left.
Yeah.
This is clear optics by his camp and trying to flex their muscle.
Yeah, and anyone can read between the lines of what's really happening. There may not be public outbursts, but it's very clear that each of these camps are flexing muscle, trying to show off to the High Command that, look, you need to ensure that we're taken care of, we're accommodated. And amid all of this public fighting that you're seeing, this infighting, this factionalism, the BJP is lashing out at the Congress. They've been releasing AI videos, in fact, to highlight the power tussle that's playing out in the Karnataka Congress. The BJP now claiming that Karnataka is suffering as a result of this political deadlock.
Means Siddaramaiah will not leave the CM post. DK will not keep quiet. He wants CM because of the agreement. 2.5 years. Entire Karnataka is suffering from the development.
Okay, let's also get you more breaking news that's coming in right now. While the politics continues, the BJP is, of course, trying to make the most of what's happening. We've now spoken to some of these MLAs who are backing DK Shivakumar. Now, they maintain that DK Shivakumar will definitely become the Karnataka Chief Minister. A handful of them, including Baswaraj Shivaganga, who we've spoken to here on India Today, are currently in the national capital. Listen.
मैं जनवरी तक नई बात करके बोल दिया ऑलरेडी मीडिया में। ठीक है, इसलिए मैं दिसंबर तक वेट कर रहे। दिसंबर होने के बाद जनवरी में मैं बात करता हूँ मैं। बट आप अभी भी उसी स्टेटमेंट पे स्टैंड बाय करते हैं सर कि स्टैंड है सर कि डीके शिवकुमार कभी ना कभी सीएम बनने वाले ही, आपको लगता है? बनने वाले, ये बनेगा सर।
Okay, so they're expressing confidence for obvious reasons that DK Shivakumar will become the Chief Minister. So today marks 2.5 years for Siddaramaiah as Chief Minister. And so the months-long rumbling over a CM change in Karnataka has taken full focus. Remember that in 2023, when there was all the suspense over who will be the Chief Minister, the High Command reportedly, to quell all discord, said 2.5 years for Siddaramaiah as Chief Minister and 2.5 years for DK Shivakumar as Chief Minister. And guess what? 2.5 years later, they still can't pick one. There have been endless trips to Delhi. Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar have their own camps or attempting all kinds of power flexes. But let's face it, there's been pin-drop silence from the High Command. Ideally, the leadership would have nipped this in the bud, should have by now given clarity over what's happening, but instead the ambiguity continues. And what that also means is that governance takes a back seat because the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister are busy fighting it out over who's the boss of Karnataka. And you'd think after what happened in Bihar, the drubbing for Congress, they would have learnt their lesson. Definitely doesn't seem like it. They're allowing factionalism to continue. They're allowing infighting, and this from the Congress chief who hails from Karnataka. So either the High Command is yet to take a pick and can't make up their mind on whether they want DK Shivakumar or Siddaramaiah to rule Karnataka, or are just plain oblivious to what's happening in the state and the endless power merry-go-round, if you will, that the citizens are witnessing. And like I said, governance, administration, that's what it's all about. But none of that matters. What's administration? What's governance? Ultimately, it's all about power.
An absolute drought for Congress in Bihar, and yet there have been no attempts to learn lessons. As the Karnataka Game of Thrones continues, the Congress High Command has been watching in silence, refusing to act, refusing to put out fires. As the 2.5-year CM formula has come to an end, there's zero clarity on whether the Chief Minister will change or it will be Siddaramaiah. There's been rumblings for weeks now. Siddaramaiah maintains he's the boss and will present the budget in months from now.
Siddaramaiah presented a most pragmatic budget of the So 18 in the past, 17 budget 1.0, 16 budget 1.0. Next 17 golden coins.
DK Shivakumar meanwhile reiterates the High Command is boss, even as his supporters continue to push for his elevation.
ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ನಾವು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಸೊ ಹಂಗೆ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಶಿಪ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಬೇರೆ ಒಳಗೋ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇಷ್ಟರವರೆಗೂ ನನಗೆ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಕುಟುಂಬ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
His brother DK Suresh is already dropping hints.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಜನರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದದಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿಗೆ 2.5 ವರ್ಷ ತುಂಬಿದೆ. ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಮಾತಂತೆ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಯನ್ನು ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರೇನು ಮಾತು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಆ ಮಾತಿನಂತೆ ನಡ್ಕೋತಾರೆ.
The BJP is going to town with this chaos with one AI video after another, this time showing an angry Siddaramaiah.
ಎಲ್ಲರ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು.
With Siddaramaiah completing 2.5 years as Chief Minister, will there be a change? For now, there are endless questions because the High Command has refused to intervene and end the suspense. With Mallikarjun and Sabarimala in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me bring in now political analyst Sandeep Shastri for his view on what's really playing out in Karnataka. Mr. Shastri, we've had you on endless such discussions on whether there's going to be a change in Chief Minister. But today is the day when supposedly it was to happen. 2.5 years of Siddaramaiah as Chief Minister. Do you think there's going to be any change at all, Mr. Shastri?
Before the Bihar results, I used to say change in Karnataka about when and not if. But after the Bihar results, the House seems to be now busy with other things and are not taking care of the states where they are in power. I think this procrastination of the High Command is creating serious challenges in Karnataka. If there was an assurance made out to DK Shivakumar that he will be made Chief Minister after 2.5 years, it's important that it's fulfilled and not a Chhattisgarh-like story repeated. And I think it's important that the High Command intervenes to settle the infighting within the party, because in spite of whatever they have done with the 5 guarantees, you are washing away all the benefits by this procrastination here. Now, whether it is Siddaramaiah continuing or whether it's a change of regime, I think somewhere uncertainty needs to, because until uncertainty does not end,
Mr. Shastri, I would have loved to, hear in detail what you have to say, but unfortunately, we're having a very, very difficult time connecting with you and really understanding what you're saying because of that weak signal. I apologize. I wish we could have Mr. Shastri with us to understand what's really expected to play out in Karnataka. But viewers, as it stands right now, 2.5 years done of Siddaramaiah as Chief Minister. DK Shivakumar is piling on the pressure, and how? Unsurprisingly, there's complete silence right now from the High Command. So we'll have to see how long they continue this ostrich approach or whether they will finally take a pick between DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah for Chief Minister. We're going to continue tracking very closely what really plays out in Karnataka. A big development in Andhra politics. The former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, YSRCP Chief Jagan Mohan Reddy, appeared before the special CBI court in Hyderabad today. This was complying with the court's directive requiring his personal appearance in the disproportionate assets case that's been going on for the last many years. But Jagan Mohan Reddy's appearance now in this particular case has also led to questions about whether this is a political witch hunt or impropriety. Let me bring in on this broadcast representatives of the TDP and the YSRCP. Joining us is Deepak Reddy Gunapati, national spokesperson of the TDP. We also have Karthik Yelapragada, spokesperson of the YSRCP. Thank you both very much for your time. Karthik, I'd like to begin with you. You look at the disproportionate assets case and the allegations against Jagan Mohan Reddy Reddy, they're extremely serious, and this isn't just about a CBI case, but also the ED that's looking into these allegations.
If there's any question, of course, that's something, nothing new on political vendetta. But this particular one, he's been asked to come because he's gone to, for his personal affair to a foreign country. So every time he goes there, he's asked to come there and do the whatever stuff has been asked. But the point there is, here, we're not kind of feared, and we want to protect and we want to actually enforce and then also follow the law. And that's why he's come and did all the honors. And I don't know why this is politicized or why this is making such a big headlines. What we should be asking is, Akshita, in the ADR report in the recent past, the same India Today has published saying that Chandrababu Naidu is one of the richest CMs in the country. And the same ADR report is also mentioning that 96% of the people from Teludesam party has criminal offenses. And again, why this happens to Y Jagan all the time, we don't understand that. And also what ADR report says, for instance, Chandrababu Naidu is one of the top 3 people in the country having 19 criminal cases, Lokesh having 17 criminal cases, and Deputy Chief Minister having 8 criminal cases, who is Mr. Pawan Kalyan. Now, the point there is they are completely not knowing how to actually rule the government, and every time they come up with some falsified statements. And again, they're running all the narratives saying that this is something, going out of proportion or going out of context.
Okay, let me bring in Deepak Reddy also on this. It's almost as if it's become a whose corruption is worse right now. But what does the TDP have to say to the YSRCP saying that, look, there are multiple cases against Chandrababu Naidu as well?
Akshita, I have to be given a little more time because the YSR representative, the way he was talking is holier than thou. Let me put the record straight. It's 12 years since Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy got the bail, and he's running around freely. In the last 6 years, he hasn't stepped foot into the court. Is this possible for any other person in India? And then if you look at Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy's schedule, he's just given 1 hour of his time as per his schedule. So the court has to work according to his schedule. And then when he comes to the court, he's come with thousands of people. And these guys have created ruckus in Hyderabad and even in the court with slogans. I mean, are they trying to threaten our court system and our lawyers? I don't understand. What is the reason for showing the strength of people there? I mean, this is a violation of the bail condition which he's out on. And what is important here is when Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy was the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, he stood number 1 among all the Chief Ministers of India in the number of criminal cases which were booked against him. And in the ADR report then, his wealth was ranked number 1. And what's interesting is all the other Chief Ministers of India put together were not as rich as what Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy was. A man who comes from a very humble background, from a tiny little remote village, how did he amass lakhs of crores? And today, if you see the court's cause list, majority, other than 3 or 4 cases, rest all the cases in the court. The court system is also clogged with the number of cases being what this group of people are facing. So we have to be a little, objective in our thought process. This is criminalization of Indian politics. I mean, this is a glaring example of how
your response?
Our system is being manipulated.
Deepak Reddy, what's your response to the YSRCP saying that there are multiple cases against TDP leaders too?
Let me be very frank. Today, the point here is about Jagan. When he was the chief minister for 5 years, and when he had 12 years of time, if he was innocent, why didn't he give the required documents to the court? And now to deviate from the existing, responsibility. Now this gentleman is talking about TDP. I mean, what about your responsibility? If you were clear, why didn't you go to the court for a single time in 6 years? I mean, you're answerable to the people of Andhra Pradesh.
Okay, you asked a pointed question, so I'm going to give Karthik a chance to respond to that. Go ahead.
So firstly, objectively to answer his question, right? So he's a Z plus category security holder, Akshita. So having it scheduled on a piece of paper and providing that to the enforcement agencies, so be it, who is protecting the law, That's a protocol. So we're not saying that he's there for an hour. I mean, whatever due course procedures would it be, he is obliged because no one is beyond any constitution in this country, right? So he is a Z plus category holder. That's why, this is scheduled. That's a regular protocol. And I don't know why these people are making such a big ruckus out of that. My question is very simple, Akshita. In the same India Today, so there has been a published document, right? The richest chief minister in the country, which is 931 crores, in the recent past. This is the document I'm holding in my hand.
Okay.
ADR report, right? I have ADR reports in my hand. It clearly says that the highest assets at the moment is Andhra Pradesh having, in terms of their chief ministers, that's been published, and also 96 percentage here, Akshita. This is a factual documentation where ADR is produced. I'm
No, but
quoting the
is
documents.
the question is wealth a problem? It's corruption. Corruption is the challenge. So if you can tell me that, these assets were illegally gained or this wealth is illegally gained, that's the challenge.
And that's the challenge where we're saying that we will
Excellent question,
go to
Akshita.
we
Stealing
will
from
go
the people and
I got-
having legitimate business are two
answer.
different things. And this is something what they don't seem to understand in the first place. Let me get one thing very clear here. The BJP has not allowed Jagan Mohan Reddy to come close, no matter how many times they tried to, vote in favor of the bills put by BJP. Now the Congress also doesn't allow them to come close, and the sister of Jagan Mohan Reddy is made the chief. So nobody wants Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy close by. He's isolated politically, and the only way forward for him is the Chanchalguda jail of Hyderabad or the Rajahmundry jail of Vijayawada. This is the naked truth on the ground.
No, if there are multiple cases, Karthik, if there are multiple cases against Jagan Mohan Reddy, and there are questions about really even this particular case, the disproportionate asset case, which dates back to, to 2012, if I'm not wrong. And since then, you've had the CBI ED investigated with serious charges against Jagan Mohan Reddy, which you cannot push aside now. You can't ignore.
So here's the point, Akshita, that is after 2012, where Y. Jagan Mohan Reddy has fought against Congress government, and we all know, the whole nations know, why suddenly cases came just after 2012, because he stood alone. He fought against Congress party, and then again, the same henchman who's there from TDP is part of this whole conspiracy.
So you're saying it's a conspiracy by the Congress and then by the BJP. So this has gone on endlessly through different governments.
I'm saying it's by Congress after he's evidently fought against Congress, stood by his own legs, led the party, won with thumping majority. Now, after 2012, suddenly why would cases come in? Because he just fought with the big heads in the country. As simple as that. No, my point is we are mixing executive, legislative, and judiciary. He is obliged to the judicial system of the country and let the courts take due course of action. He's just respecting that whole process, and that is why he's come to the court today and did whatever the things have been asked in the court. Now let's not judge who is right and who is wrong. That is why we have judicial system in the country. Now what TDP does is, even something is being declared, they feel that executive, legislative, and judicial are all one, and then they declare saying that this is something completely against Jagan Mohan Reddy. No, that isn't the case. When ADR report says that 96% of people are actually said to be criminals, I'm not saying that. The ADR report is saying that in the recent past, right? So the point is, let us give us enough time to the judicial process. Let that announce who is right and who is wrong. As simple as that.
You keep referring to the ADR report as well, and previously spoke of also the fact that Chandrababu Naidu is the richest chief minister. But again, I'll highlight here that allegation, and if you're mentioning that data, it needs to be backed also by facts about where the graft is.
And then how the question comes, how would it, 2 acres of a farmland owner own lakhs of crores of rupees today? In an state, the whole people knows. Who's going to answer that question? Where did he begin? Where is he ended up now? The point is, this is all an allegation on Mr. Y. Jagan Mohan Reddy, especially after 2012, because he's fought with the big heads and he's fighting all and respecting the judicial system, and that's why he's walked into the court today. Now you tell me what's wrong in that.
No, there's nothing wrong with him being in court. The question is about the serious allegations against him. And like I unfortunately started off on this debate, whose corruption is more, whose corruption is worse, is what politics has come down to. But Deepak Reddy, I'll give you also a say in this before I wrap this up, where the YSRCP is constantly saying that the TDP cannot be preaching to us on issues of corruption.
Let me get one thing very clear. The heritage company from which Chandrababu Naidu ji's assets have come is a legitimate business and it can be, it was already scanned by them thoroughly. So let's put that thing aside. So here the point is, for 12 years, Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy is on bail, and 6 years he didn't step into the court. Is this acceptable by our judiciary? Or is this acceptable by the people? When lakhs of crores of allegations of theft and bleeding the people dry of the state of Andhra Pradesh are on him, why is he not able to prove himself? Is the point here. Why is he evading from the court? Why has he filed hundreds of adjournment orders and applications that he's not going to be present? So absolutely, he's afraid that he will be booked. And that is the reason he's evading the court. So let us be absolutely clear that corruption using political clout, you cannot escape forever. Now the time has come, because enough number of excuses have been given, and now they're trying to act as if they are victims, trying to get sympathy from people. But the people of Andhra Pradesh don't believe them anymore. That's why they haven't given them opposition status, and they threw them out of power.
You've seen the people in Hyderabad today, Deepak, what happened. The love and
I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this up, gentlemen. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. But thank you very much, Deepak Reddy and Karthik, for joining us on this broadcast. Let's move on and get you the big story from Kerala. Sabarimala and the chaos that's played out, overwhelming crowds during the Mandala Puja pilgrimage. This is the time when usually you see a huge number of devotees gathering at Sabarimala. Nearly 3 lakh devotees arriving in the first 3 days alone. And what did they come to? Chaos, because there were long queues, water shortage, sanitation issues, and so many devotees left waiting for over 15 hours. Here's a report by Shivakumar.
Sabarimala opens to heavy rush as the Mandala Puja pilgrimage season started on Monday. With nearly 3 lakh devotees visiting the Ayyappa temple on the first 3 days, devotees were forced to stand in queues for hours. Many devotees complained about shortage of drinking water and dirty toilets. The Travancore Devaswom Board's newly appointed president, Shivakumar, apologized for the situation, admitting inadequate preparations.
പമ്പയിൽ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആളുകൾക്ക് ഒരു നിശ്ചിത സമയത്തിനുള്ളിൽ കുറച്ചു നേരമൊക്കെ ആളുകൾ വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. 3-4-5 മണിക്കൂർ വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വരാത്ത രീതിയിൽ പമ്പയിൽ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സുഗമമായിട്ട് കയറിയാൽ. ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് പമ്പയിലേക്കുള്ള എൻട്രി ആണ് റെസ്ട്രിക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. അത് നിലയ്ക്കലിൽ നിർത്തണം. നിലയ്ക്കൽ ആളുകൾക്ക് ഇരിക്കുന്നതിന് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടില്ല. ഈ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നം ഒന്ന് കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്താൽ നമുക്ക് നിയന്ത്രണാധീനമാവും എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത്.
The Kerala High Court too stepped in. The court posed tough questions to the state government and the Devaswom Board and observed that preparations for the pilgrimage season should have begun 6 months ago. After a directive from the High Court, Devaswom Board on Thursday capped the number of devotees who visit the temple through spot booking at 5,000. 70,000 slots per day are available for online booking. India Today visited Pampa, the base camp for the reality check. After the new measures introduced, crowd management has improved. Devotees say cleanliness remains an issue.
Our relatives told that yesterday was very hectic and they were not able to cross the Pamba Ganapati for 1.5 hours. So today, it was very easy for us to cross here and we are going to proceed with the darshan now. So let's see what happens now. So we have to go there and check.
ഞങ്ങൾ വരുന്നത് കുന്നംകുളം കേച്ചേരി ഈയാല് ഭാഗത്തുനിന്ന്. അപ്പോൾ ദർശനമൊക്കെ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് നന്നായി. അധികമൊന്നും ഞങ്ങൾ ക്യൂവിൽ നിന്നില്ല. പിന്നെ ഞങ്ങൾ എത്തിപ്പെടാൻ നേരം വൈകി. നിലയ്ക്കൽ നിന്ന് നല്ല മഴ കൊണ്ടിട്ടാണ് പോകുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ എത്തിയപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ നന്നായിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇവിടെ വന്നപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ആ പ്രശ്നമൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായില്ല, മഴയൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. ഇന്ന് രാവിലെ നന്നായി തൊഴുതു, 18 മണിയൊക്കെ നന്നായി തൊഴുതു കയറി, അതൊക്കെ ചെയ്തു. പക്ഷേ രാത്രി തിരക്കുണ്ടായിട്ടാ. പക്ഷേ എനിക്ക് കുഴപ്പമില്ല. അവിടെ അങ്ങോട്ട് എത്തിയതിനു ശേഷം കാലം നിലത്ത് വയ്ക്കാൻ പറ്റിയിട്ടില്ല. ചളി പിളി.
The Congress and BJP came down heavily on a Pinarayi Vijayan government and the Devaswom Board for mismanagement during pilgrimage season.
This is the peak season of Sabarimala, November, December, January. And it is, blaming the crowds for the crisis and the catastrophe is really one of the most bizarre things that I've heard. This is absolutely 100% unambiguous negligence, lack of planning, incompetence.
More queues complexes are now open to meet the rush of devotees. The National Disaster Response Force has been deployed.
The spot booking figures have been further reduced to 5,000 from 20,000. Though the situation looks very much under control now, the Travancore Devaswom Board has requested devotees to utilize the option of virtual queue as much as possible to ensure smooth pilgrimage in this season. With video journalist Tinku Rajshekhar, Shivakumar KG for India Today from Pamba, Sabarimala.
That's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.